Hello and welcome to TBWP 21. This month we are focusing on the physical wellness pillar. We are 1 month into the new year and we know some of you may have some physical wellness goals that you would like to achieve in 2021.
One of those goals might be to incorporate more physical activity into your life. We have invited some individuals who are passionate about different physical activities to share with us information about how to get started.
They will each be sharing their advice on what you can do to make adding a new physical activity in your life as easy as possible. Continue watching to learn information about how to get started with the following physical activities: downhill skiing, yoga, Zumba, and weightlifting.
Okay, tell me who you are.
I'm Taylor Williams. I work at Copper Summit Assisted Living.
Great. And are you a CNA there?
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Taylor, how long have you been skiing?
I've been skiing since 3rd grade.
Since 3rd grade? And you downhill ski. So tell me, what are 3 things that you really love about skiing?
So I love the environment.
And by that, what do you mean?
So like the people, they're all super nice and willing to help.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? What else do you love about skiing?
So I really like being in the nature, and it's something you can do with people like your family or friends, or you could even come up and have fun just by yourself.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. What are 3 things you need to know when you're getting started skiing? So like if you're just a beginner, give us 3 clues so that we keep coming back.
So it's pretty hard your first time, so you need to come multiple times. You need to come knowing that everybody has to start somewhere, and don't compare yourself to others. And it's really important just to have fun.
I think that's really smart. That's a rule for life. Don't compare yourself to others.
Yeah.
And everybody has to start somewhere, right?
Yeah,
for everything in life. So what are 3 safety tips? Like if we were starting, what are 3 things you think, okay, you really need to know this to be a safe skier?
Okay, so a helmet is always the number one. I know a lot of people don't really like to use them because they're not cool or whatever, but it's definitely needed. When you're coming up, make sure you're with somebody that knows what they're doing and where they're going, so you don't get lost and hurt alone. And I can't really think of a third one.
Yeah.
Just mainly those.
How about dress warmly?
Oh,
all right, dress appropriately.
Dress
right?
appropriately.
Yeah, don't come out without gloves and just in jeans, because you will freeze and hate it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then what are 3 physical fitness benefits? Like what are the benefits that you see from skiing?
So it builds your muscles and it gets you in shape. It keeps you really healthy, and mental health. It gets you out of the house and doing something, especially with the stress of school. It just gives you relief. Yeah.
So you're out in nature, which is super healthy, and then you're also doing something physical, which is super healthy. Yeah. I totally get that. Okay, so what's one last thing you'd like if you were going to sell skiing to somebody? What are you going to tell?
Just have fun. It doesn't matter who you're up here with, just make the best of it.
Great. Great. Awesome. Ethan, thank you for being willing to come and share something that you love to do with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's something that I love, and I teach it for a living. It's my passion to share it.
Okay, tell me what you do for Tannabelle.
So I'm just a CNA at Quinn Meadows. I am the best lifter CNA at Quinn Meadows. There we go.
How long have you been with us?
I've actually only been here since August.
Oh, so you're fairly new to us.
Fairly new,
We're really glad. We're really glad. What physical activity do you do that you love?
So I do quite a bit of I call it motion work, just yoga applies. It's all body weight. I don't do weights or anything like that. But one of my personal favorites is yoga. I picked up yoga back when I was 15 or 16 in high school as a way to gain the strength and flexibility to do some choreography I needed to do for a speech event in debate and for musical theater. And after I went on a crash course, it was like a 2-month, I think I was trying to get my splits or something was what I was trying to do. And I went on a 2-month program and just hit it hard, and after I got to what I wanted to do, I just kind of never really wanted to stop. I just really enjoyed it, and I started diving into the spiritual aspects of it all and the intertwining of the spirit, the mind, and the body. And it just really sucked me in, and now I can't let go. I'm 10 feet deep in tar now.
And it's really fulfilling for you.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. So I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay.
if I were just barely starting and thinking about yoga, what
Okay.
are 3 things that you would say, if very, very beginner, 3 pieces of advice you'd give a very beginner?
So the first piece of advice I would give to beginners, and this happens a lot in the classes when new people show up, is they're so worried that their pose looks good that they don't actually get the benefit of it. Like they're worried that their downward dog is that perfect V, or that they're all scrunched up like they're supposed to be. But you just need to, yoga's all about learning to feel if it's right, and learning how to let your body communicate to you what it needs. If the stretch feels nice where you're at, then
It's great.
then it's great. Exactly. You don't need to sink all the way. You don't need to lean all the way back. You know what I mean? That being said, because of some of the precarious positions that yoga can teach you in, you need to be careful and really feel where you're at. It's super easy to push past a limit and pull something, strain something, shift weight a little bit, knock out a shoulder. For as relaxing and wonderful as yoga is, it can cause some serious damage.
So maybe take it slowly and don't try and push too hard
Yes, absolutely.
for the ideal whatever it
Yes,
is.
yeah. Just be okay with where you're at with your poses is, in my opinion, the golden mantra of yoga.
It's just be okay with where you're at.
Exactly. It's all about enjoying the journey. It's not about getting those poses and scoring the perfect score when the teacher cues you for what's next.
Isn't that what life is?
Yes,
Just
exactly.
A little
yoga-
philosophy here.
Right? Yoga's it's like a little 40-minute little mini life series. I love it.
Enjoy the journey, not the end, because
Exactly.
you've got all of this before you get there.
Right, exactly.
Right. Okay, so you kind of touched on it, but what would be a couple of safety tips that we'd want to keep in mind if we started doing yoga?
A couple of safety tips is, first, feel your body. If it feels like it's not good, it's not good. That's
Okay.
usually the general rule of yoga. Also, if you have flexibility or balance issues, there's a lot of adjustments you can use. You can use blocks or books or whatever to kind of bring the floor up to you, or something to balance on if you feel unsteady. Really, I would say, don't try yoga your first time. I would recommend not to do it solo, because it's
I was
so.
like, don't do it. I was like,
No,
well,
don't do
you
it
gotta
solo.
start.
Don't just like dive in and start trying to figure things out, because then you could slide back into downward dog too far and pull that leg, or you could try to lunge and fall and get hurt. It's nice to do it in a class, because then they can kind of cater to your ability level, and you have all those people around who, they all look different in their poses, but they're all in the same poses. So it's a really supportive atmosphere, and it kind of removes that risk of trying something too hard, because you don't really know what too far is, you know?
Okay, great. What are the health benefits you get from yoga? Give me 2 or 3.
So the best health benefits that I get from yoga are, it's my form of strength training. Because people would just look at someone sitting in a lunge and they don't think it's that hard, but it's pretty tricky to hold yourself up on just your tippy toes or just your hands. Not only that, the flexibility is awesome. Everybody could be more flexible, right?
Right,
Everyone
right,
wants
right,
to touch their toes, pull their leg up to the sky. But I think my favorite health benefit that I've gotten from yoga is it's really improved my connection between my emotionality and my physicality. I've gotten a much better control over the way that I react to negative things, the way that I can steer, the way that I view things and my perspective, because yoga is all about just sitting and breathing. And sometimes you're in a pose that's really frustrating or really difficult, or you just can't quite get to where you need to be. And yoga just teaches you that that's okay. You'll get there eventually, and sometimes you just have to sit in the halfway there spots and just still enjoy that journey, even though it's not really the journey that you want. Yoga was able to turn me around from someone who, not physically unfit, had troubles with flexibility, lots of troubles with balance, and endurance particularly. And after trying this really enlightening practice, it taught me, it actually was able to push me past all those issues. I'm super flexible now. I can touch the ground. I can do splits. I can balance super awesome. But I think the biggest reason why anyone should do yoga is that moment where you're sitting in a pose and you're breathing and you just get to sit and feel and think, yes, I feel good, I feel relaxed, and the world outside doesn't even matter. Just for that 30 seconds alone, yoga is worth it. To try to feel what that's like, give it a shot.
Ethan, you mentioned that you do a lot of movement type things, and we've talked about yoga. What's something else that you do?
So the kind of movement things that I do specifically are, I do a lot of like guided hiking around town. I do Pilates, and I do dance lessons, ballroom and Zumba, both private and social. I think my favorite one out of all those is Zumba, because the music is just the best, first of all.
Well, yeah, because I started doing this.
Right, exactly, right? Everyone loves a good salsa beat, right? But I think Zumba is my favorite because when it comes to choreography, like ballroom and dancing, I like things that are a bit more on the high energy, a little bit more of the complex side. And Zumba just, it's a perfect fit.
The thing that I thought of is you can't always find a partner to do ballroom dancing with.
Exactly.
But Zumba, you don't have to have a partner, right?
Nope. All you need is the instructor. It could just be you and the instructor, and you're going to get
And
an
your music.
awesome class. And your music. That is super important. Yes.
And your music. Okay, so 3 things if you're getting started in Zumba. What are 3 things if you're trying to walk in that class, you're nervous, and you're like, well, what are 3 things?
So first things first, just like the yoga class, Zumba is not about form. Like in yoga, there's form, there's proper and improper ways to do what you're doing, but in Zumba, there is no bad way to do what you're doing. As long as you're moving and you're swinging your hips and you're having a good time, that's all that Zumba is about. It's just about the calorie burn to the music, right?
Right.
And most instructors think that. I've actually been to classes with like 3 different instructors at the front that are all at different difficulty levels, so they're all doing different choreography. So there's like the beginners follow this one, the experts follow this one, the intermediates follow this one, and everyone looks like a fool because they're all doing something different. But you know,
That's
you're all
great.
just having fun.
Right.
And the other thing is everyone. I think most people can admit that they enjoy going out to like the club and dancing, or they enjoy putting on some headphones and dancing their favorite music in their room. That's basically all you're doing here. If you just listen to the music and enjoy the dancing, you're gonna have a good time. By the time you leave that Zumba class, you're gonna be like, that was it? That's all I get?
Okay, safety. What are some things to keep in mind to keep yourself safe?
As a whole, the instructors have been given a pretty solid rundown about how to choreograph their music without pushing any bounds. That being said, it's still possible. You want to make sure that you're wearing shoes with good traction and a good fit, because if you're slipping all around in those, or they're slippery shoes, you're going to end up on the floor, twisted ankle. Just because you might feel like you can do something, whenever I'm in a Zumba class, I kind of do my own thing in the front because I like to do my own choreography, complicate it up. If you're going to do things like that, you just got to be careful that you don't overexert yourself, take a spin and end up on the floor, throw an arm and all of a sudden have a loose shoulder with no connection. I guess it all comes down to just be aware of your limitations. By all means, push them, but don't force it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, what are the health benefits that you get from Zumba?
So my favorite's the cardio benefit. Cardio is my absolute favorite. I could do cardio until the cows come home. Getting that heart beating and getting your lungs, and we all know that's good for you, right? I don't have to sell that, but I think I really like the coordination benefit that it's been given me. A lot of people don't think about that when they come to a Zumba class, and that's another thing you could use to convince yourself if you're having a hard time going. Is it's really good for being able to do crazy things like grab one foot with your opposite hand and bring the other one up and balance. Like it's a lot to think about in the moment, but the more you do it, the better you get, and eventually someone could throw like this crazy picture of the most complicated choreography, and you can just snap into it because you've got that kind of coordination. Going to a Zumba class is fun. Teaching a Zumba class is even funner. I got sucked into Zumba because I was going to a bunch of classes at the studio that I teach yoga at, and the instructor had an emergency and he needed me to step in, and I had like 2 hours to put my playlist together, and I stepped up to that class and I had the most fun that I've ever had. So if you like that kind of engagement where you're surrounded by people, you're all just enjoying a good time, and you like the physical movement, but maybe yoga or Pilates is a bit too slow, but you don't have a partner and want to go dancing, hit up a Zumba class. And I bet after you take it once, you're gonna at least think about teaching it.
Hey guys, my name is Michael. I'm the manager here at Kulak. That is one of Annabelle's health centers or wellness centers. I've been in the fitness industry as a career about the last 5 years, but it's been a part of my life since I was like this tall. I've done sports forever. For the general public, the reason I would recommend CrossFit, weightlifting, any sort of physical fitness type of thing that isn't just body weight or cardio-based movements is the majority of people's goals is to lose weight, lose body fat specifically, and at the same time potentially put on a little bit of muscle, get stronger. And just by doing cardio, you can burn fat really well. But the weightlifting aspect adds a lot more to calories burnt, and also putting on muscle. And the more muscle mass you have, the more calories your body actually burns throughout the day and when you're doing physical activity. It just takes more for it to function, right? There's more muscles, so it makes sense. But in order to do that, you have to lift. So today I want to go over like a few kind of basic. If you have minimal equipment, I'm going to just use a dumbbell, but you could use a kettlebell, a barbell, a heavy gallon of water, whatever you have to give you some sort of resistance in resistance training. So the first one I want to go over is just a basic squat. I think that's number one. If you're not squatting, you should be, because that's something we do in our everyday life. If you sit down in a chair, you have to stand up, which is a squat. You go to the bathroom, you go to your car, any of those things, you have to be able to squat / stand up. So basic squat, feet about hip width apart. You're gonna sit in a low squat, as low as you can, while maintaining good posture. So you want your spine straight, you don't wanna round your back at the bottom of your squat. So I'll just show a few. My toes may point out a little bit, but straightforward is ideal. I'm gonna sit into a good low squat, keep my knees wide, and then as I come up, I'm driving my hips forward, keeping my chest tall. So side view, same thing, my back stays straight. I don't ever want to round or lean forward. I want to stay pretty upright in that squat. And with the squat, Tannibal has the Ready to Work program that you should be doing, if not every day, often, right? And that also integrates a squat. So a jump squat or just your regular air squat, that's something that we should be able to do. So talking about adding weight to it, right? I can do it with my dumbbell, my kettlebell, whatever I've got. Resting position, kind of in a front position. You could also put it on your shoulders, or really just give yourself some sort of weight, okay? Hold a kid on your back, whatever you got to do, a dog, whatever you got, okay? So same concept, I'm going to sit into a good low squat, and the idea is I want to get as low as I can while maintaining good posture. So if my good depth is here, and then I get to that 90 degrees, but then I start to round, I'm gonna stop you above that 90 degrees. Ideally, our hip crease gets below the knee at that 90 degrees. But if you can't hit that and maintain a good upright chest and your knees outward, we don't want you to go that low until we can figure out what the issue is there. And that's when maybe you wanna talk to a coach or a personal trainer or something to help you figure out, hey, what's wrong with my squat, in order to help me hit a good depth. But work with what you got, right? We want to make sure you're getting as low as you can and staying safe, okay? So that's your squat. I think that's the most essential movement. Next one I want to go over is just a basic row or pull. For most people, a pull-up is a really challenging movement. So to build up to something like that, if that's something you can't do, but maybe one day you want to be able to do, or you don't ever want to be able to do, but you still want to work those muscles, a dumbbell row or a barbell row, kettlebell row, whatever, is a really good start. So I'll demonstrate that. Similar concept to the squat. I want to keep my spine straight. So I'm going to hinge, okay? My back stays flat. I'm going to pull my elbow up, okay? So I have a good rowing position. I'm using my back, using a little bit of bicep, but ideally if I've got 2 or 1, whatever I have, I'm keeping my back in that straight position, chest really big. Think chest big the whole time, Superman chest. So that's your row, okay? And then the next one I want to do is a plank. I think this could be right after the squat. So any sort of core movement is going to be good, not just for building six-pack abs, but strengthening your entire core. Again, you have to use that in everything you do. You can't not have a strong core to do that weighted squat. So everyday activity we do requires a strong core. So for the plank, I actually want to show a side plank because I think that's a little bit more beneficial. There's a doctor, if you ever want to look up someone who's really good with back safety and health, Dr. Stuart McGill, he talks about the big 3. I'm going to show one of those today, and that's the side plank. So for the side plank, very similar to your regular plank, you're going to go on your elbow, hips nice and high. You can have your feet stacked like this or staggered. If you can't be on your feet, you can actually drop to your knees. Okay, so I'm going to keep my hips up, but this is a little bit easier. Not necessarily a ton, but for those of us that can't stay up on our toes for maybe 30 seconds, I'm going to just drop to a knee. So I might do 30 to 60 seconds one side, then I'm going to switch to that other side. Okay, same thing on the other side. A little break between the two if you need it, but build up to where maybe you can maintain 60 seconds each side up on your toes. The key thing for that is really keeping your hips high off the floor, and that'll really engage your core, not just your abs, but your entire trunk to use your core for that. And that's pretty much the side plank in a gist. The last one I want to show is a pressing movement. So we've done a squat, we've done a pull, a core movement, now a pressing movement. You can do, again, with really anything you've got. I'm going to show for a dumbbell, for example, today. So we're just gonna do a basic shoulder press with one. If you've got two, even better. But you're gonna press straight up. Again, stabilizing that core, pressing up, trying to reach full extension, my bicep right next to my ear, coming back down to the bottom nice and controlled. So again, I'm not trying to use my legs and use momentum. That's a different move. We call that a push press, which is good, but to keep it simple, I wanna stay really tight throughout my core, kind of squeeze your glutes, your butt, right? Squeeze that tight as I press up and engage my core. I'm trying really hard not to arch my back a ton. If you are arching your back or you feel a little bit of a cramp there, it means it's probably a little bit too heavy. Go a little bit lighter. And I haven't talked about sets and rep range, but with all of these, for simplicity's sake, you can go about 12 to 15 reps, depending your weight. You want to get close to failure or close to like maximum effort, but by the end of it, you shouldn't be like everything you've got, like huffing and puffing off of your first set. You want to be able to make it through like 3 or 4 rounds of those 4 movements, doing like maybe 12, maybe 15 reps. If you're hitting 15 every single time, every movement, you might want to up the weight. And you might find that you're really strong on the row, but not so much on the press. So maybe you need a little bit lighter dumbbell or lighter dog or kid or whatever you're using for that movement. But those are kind of the 4 essential movements that I think can help anybody at any stage. If you're not doing those, throw those in. And if you don't know where to start at all, start with those and work your way up from there. If you have a goal in mind, and I think that's probably one of the biggest things to help you stay consistent, is set a goal. Signing up for a trip or a competition or a race or something that you want to do. A lot of people love on vacation, they're like, I'm going to Mexico, gotta look good for Mexico. So if it's something like that, it helps us stay a little bit more consistent. I'm not saying you have to buy a trip to Mexico to get there, but set some sort of goal to help you get there, and keep that in mind on those days that you don't feel like working out, you're tired from work. 30 minutes, 45 minutes is better than nothing. If you can get to the gym, and especially again here at Kulak, like a 1-hour class is fast relative to what some people do, go to the gym 2-3 hours or multiple times a day. That's not always what it takes to get to where you want to be. So why I would recommend you weightlift is because, obviously all of the reasons that I've said today already, but you can get a lot of benefits from weightlifting. It strengthens your bones. It increases bone density. Over time, that decreases. We sort of deteriorate over time, and that can increase, again, longevity for just general health. Most people's goals are not to be competitive bodybuilders, not to be, world-class athletes, but just to be able to look a little bit better, feel a little bit better, and you're gonna get that, just de-stress, whatever it is, you're gonna get all of those from weightlifting. Your brain actually releases those hormones when you exercise. It's like laughing, it's like doing the things that you enjoy. Exercising does that for you, so if you can do those, that will increase your happiness, your lifelong expectancy, all of those things that come along with exercise and those healthier things, and making good health food decisions. All of that type of stuff add to a joyful life.
Thank you to all our experts for sharing your advice and knowledge with us. This month, we are extending a challenge to all Tannibal employees to try a new physical activity. We encourage you to take the advice of one of our featured guests or to reach out to another expert about starting a new physical activity that you are interested in.
To wrap up this episode of TBWP 21, we would like to share some joy from the month of January. History was made as our Tannibal staff and residents received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. We are proud to be part of the solution to ending the pandemic.
Remember, as a company, we are choosing to have a joyful mindset and positive attitude throughout 2021. Please feel free to share your joyful experiences to be featured in our wellness magazine by emailing morgan.nally@tannibal.com.